All right, so what we have here is my two-car garage. Luckily, my house has really tall ceilings, so when they built the garage, it was also built with tall ceilings, which makes a lot of sense if you're going to have a lifted 4x4. We've got my dad's toolbox here. My father owned a shop in New York called Frederick's Automotive out in Flanders, just a little bit past Riverhead, for a number of years. As he told me, he said, "Son, you're not going to get any money out of me when I pass away, but you'll get my toolbox." And so there it is. Needs a little bit of organization and cleaning up, but it serves me well, and to this day I can still remember where things are because we've basically kept all the drawers in the same locations over the past 35 years that I've been palling around in shops. Here's a workbench. You can see I've got a number of different things on here right now for the Bronco. We've got the 8-lug upgrade that we're currently undergoing. We got the new discs. We've got the Dana 44 heavy duty hubs, the Solid Industries Dana 60 forged hubs. Here you can see the rough stuff housing with the full float ends, bunch of parts here. Also another large selection of various parts. Some of these I need to thin out and sell off to fund some of the other little activities. You got my rock sliders down there in the corner. Those haven't gotten put on yet. There's a bunch of other parts. So lots of stuff in here, lots of cool stuff. I got my little helper Declan. Declan, can you say hi? Yeah, he is. He's Bronco buddy number one. That's for sure. So this is the shop. We got stuff up in the rafters. So quite a bit of stuff. It's definitely a guy's place. We got oil spots on the ground. It's just a little Bronco sweating some horsepower and so forth. And there's my daily driver right there. Which one of these days I'm gonna sell and pick myself up an early Bronco just because they're just so much cooler. And of course we have here Deathmobile. So, Deathmobile, 1978 Ford Bronco, originally XLT Ranger, so came heavily optioned, automatic transmission, MP205 full-time transfer case. Originally had 350 gears in the pumpkins. The rear, I believe, was limited slip. Overall, when I picked it up out of Arizona, it was in really good shape. No rot, no rust. A couple little blemishes on the body, but overall not too bad. It's been repainted several times over the years. And so it was a good platform to start with. As many of you know, I used to have a 1978 F-150 Ranger pickup truck that was a 4x4 with the NP 435 transmission, 205 transfer case. Had a 4-inch lift on it, some 35-inch BFG ATs. Open, 350 gears. It was good. My father and I redid the engine. We had the body work done. It's a great truck for a number of years, but as you started multiplying with the number of kids, it doesn't work out so well. So, up front here, we've got the Bonsai Dave front bumper. Bonsai Dave built this for one of his Broncos that he then was going to part out. I drove up to Maryland, picked that up from him. I then added this light bar here. This is actually a light bar for a Jeep. Had to do some minor modifications to it to get the lines to line up here. As you can see, right in this area, I just had to cut a plate here. Use these cool stainless steel screws to bolt it down. Added the KC highlights, 110 watt lights. I think it just really sets off the classic Bronco. Behind that we have the Smittybilt 12,000 pound X2O winch, so it's their latest offering with upgraded dust and water prevention, so it works real well. Daystar block. I went with the steel cable because one, budget, and two, you hear lots of stories about the synthetic cable getting run across rocks and getting tore up, and it makes it a little bit difficult for it. So underneath, we've got the factory tow hooks. Painted those red. They really offset nice. We've got the rough stuff 1-ton steering arm. Back in here, you can see those little orange balls. So that's the RCV Ultimate Dana 44 axle shafts. We've got upgraded front differential cover. Behind the cover, we've got the 488 gears and the Detroit E-Locker, which is a selectable on-off locker with a switch in the dash. Works out really, really well. I didn't have it hooked up because the electrics weren't hooked up for the first couple of years, so I learned to drive this truck without front lock, but it did really well. So we've got the drop pitman arm, as you can see over here, and then we have the Bloody Knuckle Garage drop track bracket. It's a really, really beefy piece of equipment. Sits in there really nice. You've got the redhead steering gear. You can see that the box is already ported for hydrosis, which is coming. Then we got the Deaver H57C springs, which is the spring that Jeff's Bronco Graveyard sells. And then behind there we have the Bilstein 7100s with a 380 100 valving. I'm not sure that's the right valving for this truck. We're gonna have to play with that over time. So underneath we have the Bloody Knuckle Garage long arm set. I then had them send me a set of their brackets after I bought the arms off of eBay. Got a really good deal on there. James Duff makes a really nice bracket for the transmission cross member to support it, because this is actually where the original radius arm brackets were, and then obviously that moved out back further to there. Coming along further to the rear, we can see we've got the high angle driveline 1-ton drive shaft that's connected to the Ford 9-inch rear. This particular center section has the 35 spline Detroit locker with 486 gears, Daytona pinion support. Really, really stout unit. Much more stout than the actual housing itself. Back here on the springs, we've got the Deaver H57 rear springs. As you can see here, I've got this rear sway bar still hooked up. One of the challenges this truck has is it does get a little tippy and sway at highway speeds, and even off-road it gets a little bit rocky. So we're playing with some different concepts for sway bars, to include one that goes over the top of the frame rails and then comes back down, sort of like a Curry anti-rock setup. Coming further back, we can see that we've got a 38-gallon main tank. That's factory option, and then we've got the Bronco Air adjustable rear shackles along with a set of Wild Horses shackles. We got poly bushings at the top. I do the original rubber bushings in a set of replacement shackles. They didn't last but a couple days of off-roading, and we still have the rubber bushings inside the Deaver springs. We're going to probably change those out, waiting on Q1 to give us a full report on what it took to get his removed. To the back of the Bronco, we have the Protofab rear bumper, worn receiver shackle. We got the spare 37 12.5 R17 on La Paz 29 Pro Comp wheels. Real nice combination. One of my favorite features of the Bronco is the soft top. Right now we have it down because it's the weather hasn't been so great. So we're doing well with this. It goes up and down really nice. It doesn't take but a few minutes to get sorted out. Here's a look at the driver's side of the vehicle. So let's hop in and take a look and get it started and listen to it, and then we'll take a look at the engine. Okay, thanks.